Second. So, everybody hear me? Okay, all right. Good afternoon. So today we will be looking at a couple of development updates from our system here, but I'll be presenting together with Laura. Laura will go with the capital updates, and then I will take over with the service. So I will turn things over to Laura now to kind of walk you through the development. Sorry, the capital project update.
What did I do? Sorry about that.
Now, the AED, I promise you, that's not it.
That's it, yeah, let's go. That's it. Can you send a request? What? The meeting request, because it was sent to me as a fall, and I'm able to
Sorry for the technical difficulties. I'll be going very briefly over the projects that you see up here, and then we'll be giving you a little bit of an update on a couple of completed projects as well. Starting out with our North-South BRT project, we are on time as we speak. Right now, we're getting ready to start planning for our third round of public engagement, which should be taking place a little bit later in the fall of this year as well.
That's for the.
correct.
That is correct. Yeah. Related to the overall North-South BRT project, we are also working on a transit-oriented design study for the North-South corridor. We began that effort in June and anticipating completing the study in February of 2026. As you can see, we have our first round of virtual public engagement scheduled for the end of this month and beginning of August. And we're currently drafting the socioeconomic and market scan, which is the first deliverable for this project. So
is that basically, it's more of a land use study to see how food is going to impact how the area should be developed?
Correct. Yeah, so what the study will do, they're looking at, they've grouped the stations into what they're calling station areas. They grouped it into 14 station areas and plan to take 6 of those that are sort of representative of the overall first phase of the project. And we'll be doing conceptual renderings and to give people an idea of what could happen around those nodes. But it is land use and zoning. We're working closely with the city of Richmond on the zoning refresh to make sure that everything aligns properly.
Do you know if there's a financial analysis that goes with the study of this? You know, we're thinking about how the impact of doing the right thing in land use really helps to fund financial of the metrics of transit. And it seems like that would be a really study in a $3 million study or not, but seems like there would be room for that to happen in that kind of study. In other words, more than just pictures of what it could look like.
Yes.
Here is a revenue capture assessment. If you do these TODs, this is what you could expect per annum based on aligning that due to the coffers of the city or in RICO, in Chesterfield, that you don't have now. Is it, you know, that's being done?
There is market analysis included in it, so I believe it is, but I can find out for sure and let you know.
Does this help you with, funding applications for work here? Like being able to have this as a resource or reference? A data point when you're trying to go after money?
In terms of the criteria, I'm not sure.
Yeah. I don't see how it would earn from gain on it or DOT related efforts. But it will end up being 6 sites. But it is leading, we wanted the group to do an HRA, so that they do more real estate aspects of it. So the market analysis will lead into what those 6 sites could be.
I'd probably already in $90 I don't know. I'd love to see what the metrics are or what the award included, what the effort for 750 is. Right? So that we could push forward getting that squeezed into it, because I think for GRTC that is huge. Has huge implications for paying for systems that are the same.
Yeah, that's very good. Capturing the grant wouldn't say that, but I can share with you. Total. As far as the scope of work with them. And this,
That's it. So what's expected from the 750?
yeah, it's very robust and huge outreach and engagement effort that will move through it over several times in the community for several aspects. They've already done a significant level of stakeholder outreach, and they've done Chesterfield as well as a development team. So hoping for robust, and then eventually they will go to the council, at least from that aspect of land use related changes to that change. I'm sure the city or county or regular Chesterfield has kind of their own effort, so this will complement.
And about all this, the FTA also encourages, TOD, the development. So I'm pretty sure there are final source exposures, but there's 8% like very good.
And I think I remember, and I could just read it, but with the tiger greens, I thought there was in this market analysis sort of before and after that. Or keeping track of redevelopment along the river. Yeah, we did do for the tiger metrics, we do 3 years of reporting on department sets and value. Yeah.
We are still also working on the Western extension. VDOT has required some additional traffic analysis for NEPA analysis for this project. We, the board recently approved that change order, and the work is expected to begin shortly after the start of the school year. VDOT requires that analysis be under full traffic conditions, which is why we're waiting until the school year starts, and that will put our project back a couple of months. So we'll be wrapping up NEPA in February of next year.
The extension terminus, we've got a fair amount of discussion. Any update on that in terms of that
Not right now. We're still evaluating possible locations.
And then you did want to separate that from the project as far as the DOT Western extension. The Western extension will still terminate at Skidwood and Fairway turn around. As far as it would be nice to complement the project with a transfer station / park and ride, so that would still be valuable as far as the later.
so nothing changed on terminus.
Correct. No, it's a complementary project.
Yeah, I was gonna say, a lot of work went into terminating the pairing. So essentially right now, it's not the best situation. Sit out in front of the farm and, you know, essentially you got out all from the living. So as part of this, we were trying to make sure that transfer. So, yeah, we're looking, I think there's some conversation. Yeah, I mean, it's basically to accommodate people waiting for the next, it's a transfer station. I think a lot of the other concerns, like right now, we'll on dedicated parking lot there, so because that's currently where the pulse terminates, as well as other buses, you do get people from the suburbs, you get people who know that's where the park is your park. Yeah, so that was something that was initially, I think, in the original plan with Paul's, and then I'm in the land back. So that's part of the challenge that I'm having. On the post on lane parking, and I think that's kind of the backup with the COD. We you know, once the Pulse extension was announced, we're getting a lot of interest with developers that get paid love the back to the streets. But if you're looking at the area of one side is at Broad Street, got two new developments coming from both sides. You can do from in a lot of that is because the Boston system.
So yeah, your name values go up. If you can't afford to do what it is, that's sort of the next
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think in referencing like our law offices in spring on Chester. I think it's valuable as we talk about TOD down the road. I'm just using that as an example. It's relevant and I think meaningful for us to, I'll say, press into, I think that's sort of the promise of a lot of people coming up there.
Yeah, I guess, we've had this kind of like around the middle of one area, trying to get parking expanded. And that's always that's the struggle we're having. So people are willing to put parking for the development, but are you willing to put extra parking for a parking lot? That isn't so far. I think
But it's a non-starter if you're talking about something just on the ground.
we did that, yeah. Even that I mean, I should say one of the developments here for the farm we were actually looking at. They were going to farm day, we were open farm, we couldn't do market. And initially there was some interest in sharing some marketing, we became for our share. And then at some point in the deal, they just decided, you know what, we don't want to deal with it, we're just gonna park ourselves. So, as opposed to places to park. They're almost two different things. It's kind of hard getting the two different. Yeah. That's what my reason.
say as a region, the value of transit related to the mixed use development is not necessarily there yet, especially if it's on the short term.
Also, waiting for it to be an obvious thing, and the prices have already gone through the roof, where it's like, why is that? When you capture the requirement, when a developer comes in and says, I'm going to do. It's in your, it's in your comp plan, it's in your, you basically have the right when somebody comes along to do something different, say, okay, we need your public allocation, which is gonna be, it can be vertical, it can be whatever. And I mean, I'm in the weeds, but it's, looking at it when it becomes more obvious down the road, usually ends up making it too expensive.
Like the other big thing, like with the pulse, just training in general. We haven't had training on the grocery break. So less than that. So we haven't had training on grocery break. Okay, now that's one of the big paradigm shifts we're having to see with development in general. So the whole park district, you have a huge parking lot. And then, a couple football fields away, finally have the Walmart, you finally have the Targets. So as new development comes in, you kind of teach it a little bit where, okay, you're still building your parking, but parking, doesn't mean front center. You need to have your shopping closer so that's more walk. Those are some of the things that, since this extension has been announced, the developers are coming in thinking about walking the movie. As opposed to your park, and you're seeing a different type of development.
I feel like we all in the right.
Not much. One question I have for you, though, so you mentioned that I guess the change order. I guess VDOT was involved in the study from the get-go. At what point did they say they needed for analysis?
I was fairly within the last few months.
Okay, and then you guys have been working for a year on this, and then they're coming in with additional requirements.
Yeah, so we give them the first level of study that was done, and then they came back and said they were not satisfied with the model that was used over this. Because that provides enough a detailed then one day to do that analysis that ways.
I mean, that's an issue we're having. Bill, I don't think any. Just with PDOT in general, if you bring them in early and you scope out what you need to do, and then a year later, 2 years later, they come in and say they need more information, which ends up costing them. So it's possible. A lot of the time, the cost is bring back right external from maybe to other people.
Well, it's really great point. I'm asking a really stupid question, and I'm sure you can answer it. What is GRTC's relationship with VDOT in terms of communications, connections? Again, there's obviously separate entities and it's been compartmentalized in what they do, what they seek to do, but it is, you have such challenges. You don't always only have to love it to town, you have to state, sometimes they just don't care about what your great plans are related to. So does GRTC have connection points along with the priority of VDOT that we know of?
They, historically, we operate primarily in Bradley and the city of Richmond, so VDOT is less relevant. When VDOT comes in as far as review with us more like in Henryville or with Chesterfield in terms of projects. Due to the VDOT interaction we have are those towards like a funding relation, like smart scale, one of those around TPO. But I mean, in the conversation we've had, it's been challenging for some grants that transit seems like it's not something of the everyday dealing with for VDOT, so it's
It's a month or a year, maybe.
right, very rarely, so it's different language.
And it always comes down to the depth of the design, the details. And so we can talk about the concepts, but if there's prescribed, this is what VDOT allows, and it doesn't, get into detailed design. It's great to have a relationship and an understanding of both first line of Congress before we start talking about what it really starts to say here. I guess it's their presence, but it's a Chesterfield. I think it becomes relevant. And pretty good.
And they have been, they brought to the table pretty early in the most certain session for that.
Yeah, it is challenging the, like, that's fair to say thing. On top of it. You say that's an essential item. VDOT sees it as an obstruction.
It's in the lead one.
So there's a little bit of dynamics, I think, as GRTC is expanding to get out outside of the city.
So finance, I guess, was a career. Finance starts at 2:30.
So we,
Oh, okay, so we're, yes.
yes,
Sort of different.
so we did each one half and half, so 133.
We have begun the NEPA process for this work, and we are currently scheduled to wrap that up in January, but we're going to try and speed that process up a little bit and bring that more into alignment with the city of Richmond's work on the city center project in general.
We'll add to it. That you guys approved the last board meeting, the approval to move forward with an RFQ preparation for the transfer station. So the current plan is for that to go on the street in September and then close at the end of the calendar year, to see interest in something.
I'm had trouble hearing the part that your RFQ for
Development.
the actual development.
It's an RFQ. Solicitation support, yeah.
I have a question, so with those funds allow for a public private partnership? I'm just figuring out that, I guess, probably gonna need to be some private. Investment to get the other, is that funding?
The model we looked at with the initial study was, kind of the podium aspect would be for the transfer station, and the rest of it would be an opportunity for some sort of big development.
Kind of.
Yeah, almost a condo model.
So you're applying for this grant, and that's the grant that would fund. Remember, that's what we're.
No, this is just for the transfer station. We already applied for bill. That happened in spring. Hopefully we'll find something out about that. We already have CBTA funds for that as well. And many days that the local seeking additional CBTA funds for the project. And then this is just another source that we would like to offer the opportunity for most of us. And it would be for the podium aspect, transportation, not the apartment.
For our essential transit infrastructure, we're in Chesterfield and Michael counties, shelters, and we're continuing to work on batches of plans to go ahead and start the permit process in each locale. To date, I went back and looked today since, the beginning of 2024, which is when this current ATI process got underway. We've spent, a little over $1 million on planning and installation and, purchase of shelters, benches and trash cans. And, we've begun to get into a rhythm. We've placed an order right now. Our shelters have a lead time of more than 26 weeks, unfortunately. We've gotten into where we'll order them, install additional plans, place another order, and then install as the shelters come in.
I guess the previous budget dictated which company is supplying the shelves.
Correct. We do have, we have a term contract with, Brasco to provide the shelters.
They are the actual shelter.
They are the manufacturer, yes.
Maybe the individual permits and did they ever get the specs in?
The specs are still, are still outstanding. What we've learned recently is that the lead time that we were is, doesn't include the time it takes for, internal processing of the requests. So we sent the request for the calculations to the manufacturer, and they have a third party actually provide the calculations. So the lead time that we were given to sent the request to the manufacturer until the time they processed it and sent it to their third party engineer. So we're looking at another, about 4 weeks before we get.
But I thought we already the canopy of the green side.
They did, but there are a number of different styles that are different enough that the calculations are slightly different. And so VDOT has requested for each style of shelter, they want to see the calculations. So
Yeah,
More than just the canopy and the.
Yeah, so the issue right now, again, Franklin, so I think the law passed last year that pretty much gives the county, building, authority to permit. So our issue in the county is our building inspector on specs. Or they give a blanket. And I think one of the concerns. Kind of right in the while specs, I guess they didn't have spec, but that's what's holding up for it. Oh, really? And dude. Yeah, that was all. I'm not sure.
we do have some of the specs already. We just didn't, because there are a number of different styles of shelters. We don't have specs for some of the newer styles of shelters. So
But in that, there's no term contract holder that have the specs.
I guess that they are not,
You should, because there's questions, should they be able to respond to that quickly? It sounds like that's what's holding up the actual implementation of some of the changes. And if they're the sole holder of the contract, it seems like that's a problem if they're not performing and helping us use their product.
And part of it is their Brasco's engineer has to take his calculations and confirm that it's meeting the. So they might be supplying to all sorts of state. They have to take their calculations.
So I think it just, they've got a good income stream from GRTC. I'm just thinking that those specs. How do you delay the meeting? Meet the specs in the same day. Maybe that's in something. What's that? I may be missing some conference. Seems like rushing into the meeting so we can move more of your stuff.
Yeah, maybe I see when we're ridiculous, like at least 6 to 8 weeks each time that they make a request or stuff all online. There's yeah, for each of the spec, am I giving the right number? Yeah, that's for each time you ask for spec. They're modular, but they're constantly customized, so you know, they will see, depend, everyone would be different, and then go through the whole process.
That's a majority will be the money spent on the. Those all. Well, it's almost the same base spec. It's 80% of it, and then the rest of it's depending on what it's going to sell and the shirt and whatever. But I get it, if there needs to be tweaking, but.
I don't think we'll understand what time for just in case. It's too hard to know if they do make some things. Not the train, we're down to the factories and train parks.
Yeah, like the part of this city would have been on.
Yes, that's what we're saying, as a.
Recently, as you all may have noticed as you came in, there is no longer a former bowling alley church as we heard by Bell Boulevard. We did have the contractor did come in. There is geofabric under part of the demolished area on it, but the electrical that was associated with this project to add a new sign eventually has been, well, so at this point, that project is pretty much wrapped up. And our station modifications to accommodate our 60-foot articulated buses are all complete. The only thing we have now is, you all may have heard that shortly after completion of modifications at the Government Center westbound station, there was a collision. Vehicle exceeding the speed limit ran straight into the totem at that station, and we are in the process of getting repairs done to that. The impact was hard enough that we are having to do analysis of the footing to make sure that it's still in good enough shape that we don't have to completely demolish, go back down to the foundation and rebuild. But that project, the design has been completed for the repairs, and we are expecting construction to begin in the near future.
No riders there.
No, thank goodness. It was the station was empty, and the driver actually fled the scene. So apparently there were no injuries.
All station modifications should be there, right?
That's correct.
I think so. So I'm gonna jump into the service performance. Couple of things before I start. So we have a development dashboard that we're currently using, and currently this is a public facing dashboard that had some performance information KPIs on it. So I'm going to kind of just want to take a step back a little bit, see how we have recovered from 2021 to 2025. hopefully this works. Sorry, yeah, I did, but it's opening outside of the window, so I'll
Share and
stop
stuff.
sharing it. That's good.
Wait, hold up, you have the, link for the updated spreadsheet that also that you shared with her.
Oh, I'm sorry, it is, I included the link to the ETI website in the presentation, and it includes, both the spreadsheet and the map in that link.
For all the project updates.
Oh, I'm sorry, I do have that, and should I email it to Janice?
So. So saying, I've been working on, before I jump into this, we're also working on developing, a dashboard for the board members that, instead of sending out those packets, we can share that with you and you can review all that information using that, dashboard, but we are in the process of, working on that. Also with this, we're still taking feedback, any comments that you have, I am interested in it. So what you're looking at now is pretty much for this is all based on calendar year. So you're looking at relative for the year of the moves from 2020. And like I said, we're going to take a quick step back, look at where we have come from so far. Going to how relative for that period. So this pretty much, as you can see right here, it's the local service. And if you're, as you can see, we continue to see legal ridership. But if between, for the local service between, but this is 2024, but about that one, almost ridership. And then, sorry, the 2023 and then the 2024 did about 9.3. So, that, that is about a 15% increase. But I want to go down to the 2021 ridership, and this is when we were kind of recovering from COVID. So if you look at 21 and then 20 back to track, it's like half of it. We presented for they're going to probably what we paid for. Sorry, sure.
Just, so with that, the year-to-date number, there's a way to project how, kind of way to project against. How should be. Yeah. So
For the
like
okay, all right, okay,
just to show us
what is that? Okay.
Yeah. You can see whether, yeah, so you can see.
Yeah, we'll see. Thank you.
Pull that.
Yeah, so, what that stuff we can do, doing like, each year and kind of look at the ridership month over month in terms of how they look like. So, I think on 2025, it pretty much shows you the information and you can look at month to month.
It's a,
Sorry,
REI tool.
correct. So, on this end, we can use this to look at the performance of the route at the route level. So you can select that and look at the format of the favorite route. You can select multiple years, single years just to see what the performance of that. So this is the everybody for 2025, and this is just for local routes, mainly the default. And this is for service day, so the purple represented the green showing the sunny day, then
I'm not sure how much detail you can show on everything, but I'm very interested in seeing reliability and safety dashboard, maybe one. So this is just showing on time.
so I can the overall also for maintenance plan. So it's showing you on time, late, and then early.
And safety is showing,
Safety is showing vehicle
Accidents.
incidents, yeah, passenger incidents and vehicle incident.
so this dashboard is 100% public facing.
This is 100% public.
Can you remind me as to, I'm not trying to ask a leading question here, but the why is very interesting to me in terms of all data available to everyone. I'm a big transparency fan. What is the mandate or the value of showing all of this when 99% of the public doesn't care until they see some things that look out of whack?
Yeah, and one of the other thing that sometimes we get requests from different places, and instead of them reaching to out to us, they can go out here and download. But also, we limit the amount of data that forward. So what you're going to see with the board dashboard, it's going to have a lot more information that you can see what is it. I'm your building on we just kind of started working on the like the separate safety dashboard for the safety group. So that is going to look into a lot more the building aspect.
Well, let me give an example as to how we just need to be, in my opinion, very cautious
Okay.
about what we say we're transparent about. When one, if it's not mandated, and two, if it's not helpful to our mission, which is continue to build this system in a way that's going to make more transit riders out of it. Somebody could look at something that says, oh, there were only, we might look at it as there were only 22 incidents last month. Somebody else might see this publicly facing, see 22 incidents, say, I'm never riding that bus again. And so I don't know. When I look at this, I always want to ask the why. What if Amazon, the company, decided to show all of their internals to the world? What would that look like and why are they doing it? So I think it would make sense, certainly, to talk about ridership and how many people are being helped on that. But I would caution us to just simply say, because we have data, we want everybody to see it. I don't know that it's important, and I may be way off. I'm just saying that we don't know the effects of sharing certain information that may be irrelevant really to, we're always going to have incidents. Why do we need to build for it? What we want?
We have that struggle as well. There's a lot of emphasis on reporting crash data to the public and trying to convey relative this. Have a lot of crashes on Route 60. But it's a lot of volume on Route 60. And conveying the relative nature of it is a challenge. So I understand.
If those numbers there say it's 0.001% of the total riders, that's a whole lot different than saying 28 is. That's. And that's just an example. I'm speaking from a global perspective and saying it's a really cool dashboard. It's really helpful. And I think there's things on there that really help people understand and value the GRTC brings to the region. I just don't want to necessarily say because we can, we should.
Okay.
In all cases.
I will say that we did evaluate lots and lots of other websites for transit agencies. And I don't know if we can pull back from this and show the websites of more, but we're really trying to bring GRTC into kind of being one of the best agencies in terms of to look to as far as we redid our whole list. MTA in New York, Ramada, Pittsburgh, they are all doing this. And then even moving to their level of having Power BI ability. And then we have come up with the metrics that we felt like were high level enough. People would want to know. I mean, yeah, I care about people using with us. That's great, but I care about people using with us. That's great, but as a writer, I don't want to use it if it's not reliable. So that's like that reliability metric is important. If I know that 50% of the time it's going to be wrong, I probably won't use it. I don't know. If we some reason can't move it, that's not great. The ratio, Jeff was saying that could be the trips we actually have around the day. We have 2,100 trips. So if it happened 6 times, that's very small.
And that's the point. Maybe what do you show? Do you show? And that's the point. Maybe what do you show? Do you show numbers or do you show percentages or do you show, if we volunteer information to the public, we should be ready for whatever comes back from the public and be prepared for that. If we say things like growth of the system, be prepared for that. If we say things like growth of the system, that's good news. That's probably going to be comforting and not concerning. There's a lot of ways to deliver the same information that shows that we're a system to be used enough to be concerned about. 97% reliable on-time performance versus a red bar at the top that says this is how many you miss. Might be just a different way of saying the same thing. And I don't know what the palette of options on how it's delivered are, whether you can plug in more database information to have it out different metrics, but in a lot of us, I'm just asking why all of it. Some of it is super helpful. It wants to be cautious.
Thank you, because I completely agree. I think in terms of conveying the information, that the different ways of putting that information out, showing the same. So thank you for that. I wanted to show something. So this is showing like the relative for the top 5 routes within you can actually so currently looking at the last 2 years, this is what the numbers show on the top performing route. You have the multiples and then the 1, 5, 1, 8, 19. You can select whichever route and then it will kind of tell a route. So we have to basically for it. So I like something else. I think a couple of months ago, something about historic event in GRTC's history, where for the first time, the ridership hit 1 million riders. You can literally see that from here for 2024, looking at August, right? This is first time that we hit that one, being, right, I mean, what we have August, September, and October, and then maybe for 2025, I believe, April and May, already hit. So we kind of, you can see that type of trend of the system multiple months. So hopefully that. And so yeah, I just wanted to share that issue. But we can also look at micro transit by zone. You know, look at the performance of it. You can look at the last 2 years of information, pretty much similar to the FedEx route. Select things, look at the you know, zone by zone, and that will provide all the plus. So yeah, I just wanted to use this to highlight some of the things that we have been doing, but also but like I said, you know, taking a step back to see from 21 to 25 where we are. Let's go back to the I had a chance to talk about, you know, the 1 million financial and the other information on the dashboard, but also wanted to highlight the service performance for the 7 and the Route 1 and Route 1A due to the changes that we make to them, just to see how they are trending so far. So for the Route 7s, what we did was to increase frequency from 60 minutes to 30 minutes. And this was done for the the numbers that you're looking at does not include that June information. We're having some technical issues currently with the APC, so we couldn't add those numbers up yet. But you know, even without doing it, you can see where they're at. Even without doing it, you can see where they're at. We'll go to this second. And but the one and then the one we extended to bring out some college and BCC. We currently see the June that has already so past the October numbers. Same for the one. A little bit of an update on the micro dimension. You all know this, you guys buy stuff from market, how to upgrade. And I think I'll share with the development committee in the ongoing method analysis to see where it might go. Those are the markets that you see on the zone where trips are going in and out of. From a ridership perspective, this is what we currently have from a total ridership perspective. Azalea, Victorian, we have seen averagely, you know, how many people are use the service then within a day. By the at the end of June, more than 196 for Azalea. similar information to Ashland in terms of the point of interest, where people are taking the future pretty much cluster of activities on the north and south of the zone. And then we have a view to the southern part. This is a zone that connects to the 1A. Sorry, that one. Sorry, yeah. And it provides first and last mile connection to that zone. For the monthly rise between May and June, we saw a growth of 8%. And by the end of June, at the end of the June, looking at the average value, that's by 105, which is a 4% decrease from the previous average daily ridership in the month of May. Over the yeah, this
I mean, such a good news.
I'll try, but I'll try. Yeah, so again, very similar information, not just looking at where people are going to using it a lot more detail activities as you can see. We have information on that general service. Pretty much kind of spread out along Route 360. From a perspective, first.
Got mine.
For the total monthly, sorry, for the total monthly ridership, so between May and June, we saw a 26% in, and that translates.
6% increase.
Yes. Yeah. And of course that translates into the average daily ridership, where the month of June ended with 6 people being on 6 ridership using the service daily.
That's the right direction.
Yeah, yeah, and thought and rural is the only rural in such a science, but yeah, they use it in Garden, as you can see on the sorry, so Powhatan also includes a pocket of. It includes a pocket of Westchester Commons right there. Yeah, so in terms of ridership, we're saying the total monthly ridership between May and June increase. And then, of course, like I said, that translates into average daily price of the monthly ridership increase between May and June, it's 31%.
Bigger than mine.
And Sandstorm, again, I won't touch on that in subsequent slides because we made some changes. All right, so as I indicated, we have made some changes to the microorganism. Two main zones, Sandstorm and Powhatan. So Sandstorm, we have extended or expanded it to the western side of it to cover the Montrose High area. And this is going to cover parts of New region and parts of Henrico County, especially along Derby Town Road. And this zone is going to replace GRTC Route 56. So currently the plan is to run in that 56 and then the microorganism organics for use with it, microorganism. For us to also have a chance to be able to educate them on how microorganisms effect. There's also a section which we use idea of what we have. We kind of based on analysis, because they have very low demand or it's a very low demand area. So currently, this portion does not. It is not a part of. So then to the questions like, what it is, an extension. It, connects to two more fixed routes, either the 4A and then the pulse. And connection to the pulse, give them, either, riders, and give them, access to a high capacity, and more than that. So, we are curious to see how.
After all this, those things, anyone change.
Yeah, I think, more anything. One of the days we're going to develop how, not just for microtransit, but for the entire set, how, that will allow us to, how to plan and how. Thing that the games of the,
Everything is sort of hard to rank. So,
oh, from out.
How big is the section?
Over the line.
Okay, so we just expanded on this, 264 square miles. So the potential is that when you look at this from an efficiency standpoint, there would be numbers, metrics that say that this is costing $42 a ride. Okay. This is exactly what I'm talking about. If this kind of thing is accessible from a house on the dashboard, we're going to create a whole lot of problems while we're trying to create new opportunities for use of transit. Because somebody will find that and then they'll push something out on Facebook. All of a sudden we're swatting flies, trying to stay ahead of people who are saying, what's my tax money doing this or this or this, regardless of whether it's legit or not. Because I look at this as an opportunity to show how it works. Other people are going to say, why the heck are we doing this? Just not with that.
No, yeah, and like I said, we
I thought I
are,
saw something about I thought I saw the Falcon dash platform dash.
yeah, those were trips.
Hmm.
Those were trips and vibes.
Yeah, so you could click on and see the Falcon at 3 rides.
Right, yeah, I mean, yeah, it gives you, the monthly rides. So,
You're saying this is a change generated to keep work.
yeah,
That's what you're.
right, yeah, that is, and also what is, let's say, in connection to 1A. So providing accessibility to downtown, to south side. So it will be interesting to see what it.
And I will say, like, benefit of micro transit is, it is not one size fits all, and, we didn't take a stab in the dark. This is truly a rural area, and so, this is actually a rural model for micro transit, and it ends up doing countywide. And I'm almost more of a fair transit concept than having, perfect on demand. It's just, people are spread out. And so we only had honestly some community frames. So we're trying to make pilots successful, outreach to be a big piece of this. So working very closely with the county, we are trying this model and see if we can get for those who are aging in place in the further areas, to be able to access. And then as far as like medical and other, equipment, they're not in the zone. They have to get out of the zone. So now creating a connection with fixed route service, really being able to benefit from the network is try here, during the time. But it's okay, hopefully it will get pushed out and we want to know about it and use it. If it's not doing well, then we'll assess it. So the outreach is really focused on, elderly or disabled. But it's available there. It's available to everybody. We've been working with like social services, unusual transit supporting agencies to put it available.
what to do.
Yeah, and from I think one thing I'll say from an outreach perspective is that all of them is to come up and but here's what I'm saying is, it's in the outline. Alright, so next up for micromanagers, we trying to micromanage survey, just to get feedback in terms of how this is doing. And we put that survey in March. We are coming out today in the noise of the data, but and trying to see if we can find out what by the end of August. We're also looking at it everything in the where we want to. It will inform the strategic framework that will develop the one macro and study. I will take a step back to look at the goal that we set. Still getting develop policies and guidelines to manage the future of micro transit. Yeah. And then the last one that is the launch of new September, the Rock Zone. Is going to replace the existing route 88. And the idea is to maintain the comparable service plan as we currently have. And this has a connection to local picture of is the 1 and then the 3, but also in the future, this will connect to and himself BRT that will run right here on Bellwood Boulevard. Once that comes by. Sure. Sorry. Yeah.
Make a recommendation.
Right, so can we?
Okay.
So, and now we can put a pause on this. Yes.
They go to. And it looks like you're the,
And I'm the most needed, and yeah. So I guess starting off with the motor coach buses, we're looking to replace the existing 5 motor coach buses that we have in our fleet. They're written back in 2010, they're 12 years life. They're about 40,000 miles each. The technology and parts of the buses are outdated, so running a challenge with maintenance costs, finding parts, bringing downtime. And we sometimes have our buses are very rapidly, which is not ideal with comfort and reliability. Also, taking resources to move very faster. But also, we're looking to replace these 5 buses with 5 new motor buses. These buses will operate over 88 cycle depth. So the existing buses have almost like a big ramp that has to lift up, bring the rider in wheelchair. These new buses will just be able to give them a little now ramp to just go in. And a lot of other technology upgrades on this bus. But it's up to us in a nutshell.
I was wondering what the green is doing.
American,
And what is the breakdown on there?
68, GRTC. 8% state.
Like,
4% local and then 28.
2860.
So next one is our paratransit vehicles. So we identified 10 vehicles, just a really standard procedure. We do every 5 years with our paratransit vehicles. So we have 10 that are due for replacement. We'll be looking to replace them with a new vendor that offers a similar style van to the one we use now. But the difference will be that they have expanded tank capacity for our CNG, so that requires less coming back to the street. So we're looking to pilot that and see whether that's something to look.
Mary? Any other questions?
That's one, the motorized gates.
What about, yeah, well,
Well, I'm sorry. Perfectly. The MVP, the mechanical electrical and plumbing services, we are looking to upgrade essentially the existing agreement that we had, put out in 2023. It did not meet, all of our growing needs with this facility, especially with age related, upkeep that's needed, and that's what we get. So we put out another, proposal, to get a new contract out, which will expand PM services to the building, enhance 24/7 response, install new equipment and technical assistance and project work, related to the aging and construction and operation of the building. We also have a comprehensive list of projects that we needed over the next 5 years.
This also support, got that generator, but some bad. Contact.
No, so that'd be a separate service. Yes,
How many proposals did you get?
2, I believe. Yes, ma'am.
What is BAS?
Building automation system.
That's the way it's done.
Correct.
Any other questions?
Motorized gates, this is a first part of a more comprehensive project that we're working on, but we're looking to upgrade the Boston entrance gate. Right now, the infrastructure in the back, there's outdated, simple wing arms that either break on their own or get accidentally hit. But we have an existing sliding gate that comes out, but you have to manually push it out or pull back. So we're looking to automate that gate, and make it more patients to be trapped through that Boston entrance gate, and also secure the property, because right now anybody can just walk through. Back there, so that's we do that.
It's another grade.
Hopefully.
That last one, and he's, with that one.
It will, it's the vehicle to, get projects done as we apply for grants for bigger ones later, but as far as PM right now, it'll be used for operating. And we still have some current funding related to there, like lights and such, that would be the contract to get this much.
For the MEP funds sources.
It's not a funding, it'll be several funding sources, so that was for $11 million, so it's just the contract to have that in place as we. We're not gonna, we don't have the funds to do, spend all $11 million, it's not.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a new project, yeah.
On call.
Right, for example, we had 800,000 to replace the HVAC recently, and we had an MEP pump. We don't have one in place right now. They're running. So we use the merit funds to pay for that, and then pay for the whole VM who's operating that to replace the contract that we needed more funds.
It's for the dates, next week, listen to multiple vendors.
So I did I gave you the IP.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So this will build on a pavement study that we did in 2024 that took a look at all of the asphalt and concrete here at 301, including employee lot, all of the bus yard and the paratransit lot. This effort will include final construction drawings, as well as some bid and construction phase services to include responding to bidder questions, attending the pre-bid, and doing monthly meetings during the course of the work. This will be producing a full set of drawings. We are planning to do all of the work in succession, rather than original plan, which was to do sections of the facility over the course of 5 years. We expect to see some cost savings just based on the escalation in cost over the last few years. We figured it would be more cost effective to try and do all the work at one time. This particular effort, the design effort, is funded from an existing grant. And then we have also received money to actually do the work, the construction work this in this latest round of merit funding.
Do you have to submit your plans to the city?
I'm sorry.
Do you have to submit plans to the city?
This is going to be considered maintenance, so we don't anticipate there being any need for permitting. And we won't actually be making any changes to the area that's paved. We're just going to be repaving what's already here.
Any questions?
The information is good. Sorry. They're complicated.
Right. And I server infrastructure or something.
Yeah. So in our, basically, we run all of our services and our data is our hardware for the network servers and everything that have our data center. Those were the virtual environment that we have there now was there in 2018. And we are past the warranty and expiration date of hardware, software, and stuff like that. So we basically release that. So get less new technology come out. Basically, when you get updated, it's
Sure.
Yeah, going to go back.
Any questions? Right, is there a motion to recommend the voting items? All in favor? Aye.
Yeah, we're trying to get that. But we've not been. The other. Yeah, should. That would have to.
Okay, we are, thank you.